Sorry about that. Hello, hello. This is Raquel with Paints and Glitter. I'm hoping to come to you live today with a crafty video showing you what I've been working on. So I'm going to give this a couple of minutes here and hope that I'm in frame. So I will be checking that in just a moment. And I am. Yay, hooray for that. Just going to move my camera really quickly here. There we go, and I think that'll allow you to see better. So I'm going to wait, of course, for people to join in. Hopefully I get some crafters who join me here. Okay. And in the meantime, I will be cutting paper because I don't like to waste time. Hello. Hi. Oh, you're very welcome, Gigi. Thank you for joining me. I am just going to give it here a few moments while people join in. Hopefully we can get a group of crafters to join along. And I thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you want to share my video, and as a matter of fact, if you do that on social media, I would truly appreciate it. Because I'm going to be sharing what I've been doing so far for cards for Cubs. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm going to, well, one of the cards you would have seen in the cover of the video. So I'll be sharing that. Super simple, in fact, much simpler than what I normally make, because of course these are cards that you want to make a good quantity of, and I'll probably end up repeating myself a million times over, but hello, Alicia. I want to say Alicia. I don't know if you go by Alicia, but welcome. Thank you for being here. And yes, so this was the card. I'll just go ahead and share. This was a card on the cover of the video, and as you guys already know, I always have a lag. So I'm going to try to point the camera where you can see this, or I'm sorry, position this where you can see it. And in fact, give me 1 second. I need another light here, and I think it'll make things a little bit easier for you guys to see. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And I think, yeah, hopefully that made things a little bit better. Hello, Beverly dear. Thank you for being here, hon. So that was the card on the cover of the video. And the reason I'm coming along today is... sorry, I was just stretching there. Thank you. To share what I've been working on. I've not been on YouTube because I have been extremely busy. Not because I've not been crafting, but it's quite the contrary. I've been crafting my head off. So if you have not already heard, Barely Arts, which makes this glue that we're all familiar with, Barely Arts glue, they have an event that I'm going to, as a matter of fact, link right now. Okay, so if you go to that page a little later on, of course, then, hi Angela, hello darling, then you'll be able to see why I'm sharing this video today, okay? They have an event where what they do is that they collect cards by crafters, handmade cards only, not store-bought, and they collect these cards and hand them out to foster homes who participate in this, I guess you could call it a drive. So the cards that you send in will be sent to children that are in custody of foster homes, okay? So what they have asked for is that you make a commitment of a quantity. I don't know if there's a minimum, to be completely honest, but for instance, I signed up to send 30. And that was a number that I figured I could attain because they need to be in hand to them by the 31st of March. So I gave myself an entire month to craft all of February to have at least 30 cards to send so that I could ship them as soon as I could in the month of March. And that was, again, I shared this in another video because of USPS. I don't want them to be late, etc., etc., right? However, what they've asked for is very simple, you know, just any kind of card that you normally would make. And what they've asked for is that they can be given to a child of any background, any kind of belief, and also that they only be either encouragement or birthday. So I thought that was a super simple and super easy request. And Christian from Christian's Crafty Adventures is the one who invited me to and challenged me and everyone else really to participate. And I decided, you know what? I actually right now, and I'm going to show you guys really quick if I may. I have a bin of cards that looks like this, and it's dusty and yucky, but you guys know what I mean, one of these latch things. And what I've done is that sometimes I make cards for design team work or things like that. You guys probably already know this. I share here dies from stores and that sort of thing. Hello, Carmen, and hi, Luisa. Oh, I hope it gets better. So I'll make cards, and I don't always necessarily have a recipient in mind. And to be honest, sometimes they end up in that bin with nowhere to go. Mostly because I make super girly cards, and I am a mother of 2 boys, so there's only so many cards that I can give my family and, you know, and things like that. And sometimes friends, they understand what I do, but they don't necessarily have that in common with me. And you guys probably know this also, that crafty friends will appreciate a card, whereas non-crafty friends might get a card from you, and one is sufficient. You know what I mean? So, all of that to say that if I have cards, then why not participate? Why not send them to a good, wonderful cause? If you don't know my channel name, it's not just Paints and Glitter. It's actually Paints and Glitter Art with Encouragement, because I do have a ministry of encouragement. I am a Christian woman. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ as my personal Savior and God. And I craft to praise, I craft to worship, I craft to give to others the love that I have received. And out of that then is that kind of, you know, drive to say, okay, I want to do this just for something more than just that immediate satisfaction of I made something and it was fun to make. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with that. So, in any case, what I did was that I got out my Cricut, which has been sitting dormant for way too long, and I went through my cartridges, and one of them is called Birthday Bash. It has the cutest little images on it that are super simple in my opinion. And of course with print and cut, then you can select images, and you can, I'll show you here what I mean. You can select the images and then just quickly have them print and cut, as it's called, right? And then boom, you have yourself a set of images that you can use for the front of a card. So simple and easy. As far as this background paper here that's striped, that's one 12 by 12 piece of paper that I cut using my Cricut as a background. And these are all, by the way, hello Eileen. Oh, wonderful. Oh, hi Sam. Oh my gosh, there's so much I want to say to you guys. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. And Carmen, thank you. And Carrie, oh, hello Carrie. Awesome. I hope I don't miss anyone, and if I do apologize. So what I did here is the print and cut, as I just mentioned. I flattened the image in my Cricut Design Space. Otherwise, it would have been many layers to glue, and you know, we don't have time for this business unless I'm making one card. So to compensate for that, however, because I wanted the cards to be happy, you know, full of texture, all of the things that I normally want to put on a card, then I got out my stash of Nouveau drops, as you can see, and stickles. We all have them, right? So I figured, okay, I have these in every color of the rainbow, then I'm going to put them to use, and that's what I did. I covered the otherwise flat image with the stickles, and I also told my Cricut to cut apart the little leaf and the cherry that normally would just be completely flat. then I asked it to cut that separately as well. And then I used a little dot, you know, glue, what do you call those cushy little 3D dots or whatever? I put that behind that little cherry to give it a little bit of dimension. I also painted this white portion with some paint that I have that, in fact, so glad I found it. It's called Extreme Glitter, and this is hologram glitter paint from Plaid, and this is available in every color that you can imagine from, I believe it was Walmart where I picked this up. So thank you so much. So what I wanted to do was, again, to add the texture, add the shine that I normally love in my cards, but do it super fast. So I took a paintbrush, I painted, and here it is, all stiff and dry and yucky, but I painted all of them really quick with that paint. So there was my shine, and then on top of that, I went, you know, assembly line style on every single one, did all the blue, all the pink, all the red, all the little pop dots. And then on the corners, I went a little crazy because I wanted to emulate the little sprinkles. And I just did the same thing on the corners. And also topped them off with sequins because I happen to have them nearby, and that's how I craft. If you get in my way, you're going to end up on one of my cards. And so that was the gist of that. On the this rainbow color paper, and I'm sharing all this because I did say I was going to do like a recipe of my cards. So this rainbow colored paper was all 1.5 sheets or 1 sheet of 12 by 12. I cut them down to fit on my cards, and I did the happy birthday sentiment on the inside. Yes, because I didn't want them to be simple. Just to, Eileen says, so much fun on one card. Yes, I know, we have that in common, Sam. We craft the same way, and I can tell by the way you describe your items. So I took advantage of the Cricut, and I know that I have Cricut pens. I can put it in the machine, select an image, make that image into a draw file or a draw image, attach it to the base of my paper, and then it'll draw it out for me. So voila, I don't have to worry about me trying to write the same thing over and over and get it wrong, or etc., because I have been known to misspell birthday. And my only, you know, disclaimer on that is that Spanish is my first language. Oh gosh, I'm just, you know, it happens, ladies. So anyway, so there's 4 of those, quick and easy. So I didn't stop there. I wanted to make some more. And yes, absolutely. Keep on cooking, Eileen. Yes, absolutely. Those little, you know what? As a matter of fact, those little silky things that you get on the shoulder of your shirt to hang, and sometimes that little super thin silky ribbon, I've even used that on a card. So this one was one I did on my last, I think it was like my last live, just to prove a point that you could make a simple card without going crazy. I just added some dollar store stickers on top of the paper that I had designed and printed. I added a happy birthday sentiment cut out with a TonicStudios die. And then these are popped up. And I did use dimensionals, but I also used hot glue and only one die cut. All I did was that I cut it out in red, and then I cut it out in the background of this paper. So where the background would have been, I placed the red pieces of paper, and on top I placed the striped paper. Super simple. I left it blank because it already says happy birthday, and yes, you can send them in blank, okay? Okay. If I have Beverly or Louisa, one of you guys, please take care of I don't know, whatever that name is that I can't pronounce. So, Crafty Stamper 2, I am sharing the cards that I've made so far, but if you're willing to stick with me, then I will definitely be happy to start crafting with you guys as well. So yeah, I need one of my ladies here to do their work as far as helping me out. Or give me 1 second, guys. Bear with me, okay? I hate to have to stop to... Oh, all right, Beverly. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. Somebody's bent on getting me sidetracked, and it ain't gonna happen. Yes, the Cards for Cobs is basically Barely Arts using their platform, and I did share the link earlier, to collect cards that will go to children in foster homes. Now, these children have obviously been removed from their permanent home that they're used to, and they are in a foster care at that point. So to make sure that they have cards for these kids, because let's face it, homes can break up right around the holidays is usually when that happens. During birthday seasons for them and all that, they need cards to encourage these children and to wish them a happy birthday. And this is a great way to collect them and have something for them should it be that time, you know, for them to receive something. So it's a wonderful cause. I hope this is a new, like a beginning for me to have something to look forward to every single year, to have a place to send the cards that I make. I'm really, really excited about it. And I'm so happy that Christian shared it, because I had gotten the email, and quite honestly, because I get so many emails, I just, you know, scrolled through it and didn't really pay too much attention to it. And then when I started reading about it, I was like, oh my gosh, why am I not doing this, right? So, you guys know, no problem, Sam, that I love bees, so I have my bee stash of product that could be dies or stickers or whatever. And as a matter of fact, I had gone to Hobby Lobby a couple days ago, and my husband spotted these little bee stickers, and they're so stinking cute. So what I did here is that I made this jar, and I shared this in a different video, where I took vellum, and I made a jar, and then I topped it off with the paper. And inside, what I used were those little heishi beads that I was sent to review. Well, I have a big old canister of that, and there's like 5 million of these little things in here. As you can tell, they've kind of gotten all over the place. But why not go ahead and make use of those? I made a little shaker, and on top of that, again, I repeated the happy birthday, because that was an easy way to go about it. Added some little bee stickers, a bee die cut that I doubled up there. And then up here, all of these elements, by the way, the flowers, the honeycomb pieces, the bee, and what else? Yeah, so all of these little elements, or, you know, embellishments, were cut using the same die set from Memento. So that made it easy. I didn't have to go looking for 3 different things. This one here, I just happen to have on my desk. That's where the jar idea came from. And then this back here is just a label. And I really like that paper with the little raindrops, so I went ahead and used that. Yes, not a problem. I mean, I can't imagine having kids around that stuff, because all I can think is, you know, vacuuming and finding all these little rubber pieces all over the place. But this paper back here, guys, I've had this paper for, I'm ashamed to say, I think over 10 years, this yellow piece of paper, and it was just sitting in a stack. So there it went. Again, the sentiment's on the outside, so I did leave the inside blank. But where I didn't place a sentiment outside, then I went ahead and put it on the inside. Okay, and I think that makes sense. So I made several of these. Super fun. I did stitch on that jar, by the way, which was not a very good idea on my part. But as you can see, you know, I made a few. Oh, and I think, yes, I forgot to mention that they're not all exactly the same, because as I was mentioning when Sam talked about it too, using whatever you find on your desk, I had this pink piece of ribbon left over from another project. I went ahead and wrapped it around the jar, and I also wrapped it around on itself, put gold thread in the middle, and made a little bow. Why? Because I only had a certain amount, and I wanted to stretch it out so that I could make 2 of the same. Okay? So as far as everything else, I colored I cut them out in white paper. That I'm referring to the little flowers. Colored them with my Copics. And again, because they were all the same size die cut, all the same color, then I could just assembly line color all of them as well. So that's a time saver also. So let's see here. There's also some more, but wait, there's more. And I do appreciate your patience. I'm just showing you guys these cards so that you can see what shapes, you know, anything that's familiar to you that gets you kind of excited about crafting, then that's what you should use, I think. Only because that's going to be where your comfort level is. So if you're the type of person that likes to keep things very clean and simple, you can go in that direction. But if you like to be like me, where you add a little this and a little that, then you can definitely do that and make some cute cards to give away. This next one, of course, as a mom of boys, I got to thinking about, you know, the little boys needing cards. And this is also an image from the Cricut library, which I'm sad to say 99% of the ones from this collection on my design space, they disappeared. And I tried to get them back from Cricut, and I was told that wasn't possible. So I'm crying on the inside. But anyway, I managed to rescue a couple of them because I had saved some projects. So ladies, if you own a Cricut, save your projects because you never know when the cartridge is going to disappear. But that's a whole other topic. I used the little boy holding the airplane, and I added some star die cuts because I wanted the colors to pop and also match the shadow that I use for the little boy. Then I use the same purple that I use for the shadow as a shadow for the stars. So, I mean, it can't get any simpler than that. I did use Nouveau drops up here to make it look like a shooting star. And on the background here, and I'll hold it a little bit closer, on the background, I dry embossed that paper and added some ink on the perimeter there. So just the border, just to give it a little bit more depth. Okay. So that's that one. And I did the same thing with another one. Same image, same stars, same concept, except for the background is embossed with a different embossing folder. So if you need to get those out, if they're just collecting dust in a corner in your craft room, it's a great way to get those out and start there by just embossing a bunch of pieces of paper and then adding your images on top, and you're good to go. And like I said, you don't have to use a machine. You can also just use the stickers that you get from the dollar store, and they make really cute cards also. So far, so good. I hope you guys are still with me in mind and soul. I'm joking. If you have any questions, of course, please ask away. I'm happy to give more pointers. I'm just looking through here because I made several, by the way. So I try to make at least 4 of the same kind. And I think this might be the last one that I show you. No, it's not. I forgot. So easy to forget what you've done, guys. You know that? You can work your tail off and in 5 minutes forget why you're so tired. And by the way, the envelopes I got from Hobby Lobby, they happen to be on sale this weekend. They had 50% off of all Paper Studio. So I got a big old box of envelopes just to make my life easier because, yes, I was making them by hand. And that's okay, too. So if you have an envelope punch board, you can make them that way. Oh, you know I had to, Eileen. Latin Girl and Susie, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. So my heart is with boys, guys. I'm a boy mom, you know, 100% of the way. So I just love boys. It's, you know, it's been such a blessing to have children. And, you know, I was just sharing this, matter of fact, I think it was, yeah, last night with a couple that I was blessed to have children that were born healthy, that, you know, just didn't give me any kind of, you know, trouble as far as what people's expectation is of boys and things like that. People would just almost even poke fun sometimes, like, oh, you know, I had one friend that used to tell me my son wasn't normal because he didn't give me trouble. And I was like, no, he is normal. He's a product of his environment. In our house, we read for 3 hours. That's not something abnormal. It's just what he's become used to. And so it wasn't anything for my kid to pick up a book and just go to a corner and read rather than destroying my house or things like that, you know? So it is a blessing, and it does motivate me, and I love doing it. So anyway, this card here is yet another little image, super simple, cut out with my Cricut of the little boy playing with a dog. On here, what I did is that I took a piece of paper and I created a Z fold so that I could have a base for the little boy here. And again, I used one of my embossing folders, and I did use a piece of sandpaper just to sand away, because the paper has a white core, sand away a bit of that paper so that those little circles would pop out a little more, and it gives it that nice texture also. I used a white pen just to highlight a little bit of that image, and it folds out like so. So that Z-fold black piece of paper holds the image onto the card, but it also creates a really fun card that will stand on a table. And I hope you guys can see that. I think if I hold it up here, you can. Okay, so you see that? That creates that three-dimensionality, but it's just super simple because it's only one piece of paper that was folded in two little areas there. Okay, then on here, just so that this wouldn't be blank, I took white cardstock and I stamped it because I happen to have stamps that say, it says Snips and Snails and Puppy Dog Tails, and the little stars also. And to make it super easy, I just repeated the same stamp 3 times, 2 times, that's it. So I took my strips of paper and stamped them exactly the same way every time, and that way it looks like patterned paper almost. I did add a little bit of glimmer pen on there because I couldn't resist. And then back here is just a white piece of paper that I stamped with the stamp sentiment that says, "You're amazing." And again, I reached into my bowl of Nouveau drops. I grabbed the ones that matched and left a bunch of little drops there in all the different colors of blue and green that I own, just to give it some texture and shine. But it isn't, hello Stace, and welcome. It isn't girly just because you added shine. You can definitely do that on masculine projects. And today, in fact, I shared a card on Instagram that was for my father, and it's all shiny, super shiny. But so yeah, that's this one, Z-fold card. I was super happy with that. Just thought of that on the spot too, which was fun. And let's see here. The last card that I will share, and I made 2 of those. Let's see here. And this one I made 4. Okay, so again with my Cricut, I made my little bee, another bee themed one. This time, this little character is already holding the gift bag to bring to the party, right? But what I did is that I asked my Cricut to print and cut not just the bee, but separately the gift bag and the wings. And that way I could pop them up. And I just used dimensional adhesive to pop up that little gift bag. And I also cut again the little bow. And then I added Nouveau drops to the wings and the bow because they match to make them shiny. Then up here, I just use, I like to put my stamps into my computer so that way I can use them digitally as well. So because I did that, I was able to print this out over and over onto a large piece of paper. It says Make a Wish, and then have them, I cut them out using the die cutter. In fact, I forgot to add the little bees. I'm going to be adding the little bees to this one as well. But you see, this one's the more finished one. This here was a Sizzix die that I cut twice. Oh, okay. Oh, wonderful. Sam, you're back. Awesome. And here's just a little piece of twine. So I measured it one time for the one tag, and then according to this measurement, I cut all the other three assembly line style. And on here, the background that you see, I made using a stencil that I recently shared. And this one's called Honey Dipper Background from Honeybee Stamps. And I had picked this up and wanted to use it. So again, I cut out my background pieces of paper. I created a hinge by putting the paper underneath the stencil and taping it down. And that way I could just, you know, flip flap over the paper, if that makes any sense. Kind of like a little door. And that way I always knew where to place my paper and just inked it up with inks from my stash. Thank you. And then that way I could add that blue onto that yellow piece of paper that otherwise would have just been flat, which is fine also. The thing is that I wanted to be motivated to make these cards. I wanted them to look special, and I wanted to use my stash. So the inside here, I'll show you what I use there. And bear with me, guys. So I have these old strip, what do you call these things? Embossing folders. And quite honestly, I never know how to use them, but in this case, I was like, you know what? It matches the whole bee theme. I had a leftover piece of yellow paper, so I dry embossed it. It gave it that little strip there of honeycomb. And because I had my little bee stickers, I was able to put them there. And this is the little dipper for the honey that comes in the die set. I cut it out in gold. And again, the same happy birthday that I had done before with my Cricut, I just did it in a different color. So super simple there. And it all worked out because it was all the same theme. So I hope that makes sense. On here, I did add some pen, but in hindsight, I shouldn't have added the black glitter pen because it kind of got a little bit on the rest of the bee. So I'm not too happy about that, but it's, you know, it's one of those things that I'll notice because I'm a crafter, but I don't think anyone else will, honestly. And the bases are just regular 80-pound cardstock, nice and thick. So the layering makes it a little more substantial also. Okay, thank you, Beverly. Thank you for helping me also. I do appreciate that. So, as you can tell, I'm using the same size envelope. It's a little bit larger than the card because I did cut this one down. That's of no consequence. I don't think there's any kind of, you know, obligatory size for the cards. I just think that they need to be happy cards. So I considered making a shaped card, but my Cricut wasn't cooperating with me too much. So I just made them all the same, you know, 4 of this, 4 of that. And now I'm just being mindful of the temperature so that my stickles and, you know, my Nouveau drops don't stick to the envelopes. So, okay, that's 21 cards total. I know that you know, some of them are repeated, but those are some ideas that you could try. And of course, they don't need to be that elaborate, but I like to keep going and going. Today, choices. I got to thinking about what I have, and I have stamps, dies, more dies that I'm not even going to show because I'm not even going to go there. More stamps. That shouldn't have been there. And okay, so I got to thinking about making, yes, Susie, yes, absolutely. These are the cards for the Barely Arts challenge. And I got to thinking of doing a little stamping and coloring, and maybe just mixing and matching, trying to make it quick and simple. So let's do, all right, I'll let you guys choose. We can either do the bunny, and this is just from Concord no, Colorado Craft Company. This is from Anita Jerem. You probably all know who she is. She made children's books, and now she's doing the same images, but for stamps. Super cute. So I could do the bunny with a balloon, or I could do the little girl who's hanging upside down. This one's from MFT, and I've not even used her yet. She's so stinking cute. So she's on a branch hanging upside down. She's got little chick friends there. And this one I figured I could use because it does say it's your birthday, let your hair down. Because of course the sentiments is where you kind of want to be careful, because you don't know who who's going to be receiving them. Then I also have these stamps, and I got to thinking that the little puppy with the heart would be sweet, but I'll let you guys choose which one, and I'll start stamping and coloring and cutting, etc., etc. Bunny, okay, I'm all for that. So Stace, welcome again. Yes, I did say hi before, so pardon me, it takes me a minute. We'll go with the bunny then. Okay, somewhere in this world. Oh, goodness. I'm still with you guys. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm looking for what I know that I own. Here it is. I get so organized that I forget where things go, or are, I should say. I'm gonna use this platform because I think it might make things easier. I'm not quite sure. And I have a piece of paper here, and let's see here. Let's go with it. This is not what I typically use for alcohol coloring, but I'm going to keep it super simple. So this is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, tonic platform. I'm going to go like this. I think you guys might be able to see it better like that. And oh, wonderful, Susie. I'm so excited. That is awesome. Beverly, this platform was recently, I want to say it was recently on sale. I'm trying to think if it was either on, it may have been on Craft Stash UK, come to think of it. I can't recall now. And this one, by the way, it already has a happy birthday sentiment, so I might just go ahead and do that because it also has the other one that says, today's the day for wishing and smiling and celebrating you. How sweet is that? It also has the sentiment that says, wishing your day is filled with lots and lots of smiles. Okay. Well, Beverly, you can get it from the UK. And you know what? I was just, oh my gosh, girl. I was just watching another crafter this morning, and I was half asleep, so don't ask me who it was. But there's another company, US-based company, that came out with the same platform, which leads me to believe that the patent may have run out on the other company's platform. So who the heck knows? I don't know. I believe in a free economy, and I will say that because this is my YouTube channel. I believe in a free market economy, and I think sometimes things are a little too crazy when it comes to when and how and where and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to stamp first, and then I will do the die cutting. And then I will do the coloring, just so that way I kind of have my vague idea here of where he's going to go. Anti-misty, that's hilarious. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but if you see a product and you're a grown person, you can make up your mind as to what you want. I don't know. Again, I don't want to get into logistics of all of that stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just that chick. I don't like to be told what to do. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so we have choices here as far as ink. And I think what I'm going to do is, just to make it easier for you guys and not have to wait 100 years, I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I've used this bunny before. He's just so stinking cute. Okay. And I really like this because if you goof up or whatever, or you don't get enough ink, you get a second opportunity, because then you can add ink again and then press again. Of course, we all know this, but just in case you've never seen one. All right, voila. I think, well, maybe one more time there. I don't think it has to be extremely dark, but just so that you guys can see it on the video. I've got my baby wipe over here, so what I try to do is kind of keep it nearby and wipe down the stamp just so that I don't get ink, I'm sorry, on my hands. If you leave ink on your stamps, it's not really that big of a deal, I don't think. I think it's a personal preference, but I just like to clean them because I'm such a klutz that I'll get the black ink all over the place. All right. I'm going to verify that this isn't too wet. All right, I think that's good. I'm just going to go ahead and do one. I'm not going to do multiples of these on camera because I'll drive you guys crazy. And now I will cut this down and use a die cutter. Here we go. Just to give it a pretty shape. And what I'm aiming for is an end result of 5 by 7, guys. So that's how I think in my head in terms of, you know, these things. Is that whatever I do, it cannot end up being bigger than 5 by 7 at the end. So I'm just going to cut this down to 4 1/4 inches. Wait a minute, I'm putting away the wrong thing. Still thinking backwards here. All right. And I am going to run this through the die cutting machine, so I'm going to cut it a little bit on the larger side here, maybe 5 1/4. Like so. Okay. Now, what I will do, guys, I moved my machine from position, and you would think that I moved into somebody else's house. I'm like, where is everything? I don't know. Okay, I'm just grabbing a die. I'm going to just go ahead and use a safe rectangle. This is from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And it's just a stitch rectangle, super easy. I'm going to place it on here. And what I want you guys to notice, because I'm, you know, there is some thought process to this, is that I'm trying to make my little balloon guy closer to one edge than the other, okay? You can center these things, but I think it's more visually appealing if you have more white space, and I hope that makes sense. Now, these are for children, but I cannot be anyone other than who I am, so that's why I share what I share. I don't think kids pay that much attention or care, but there's a method to my madness, I guess. This die here measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this might work. Okay, so I've got my little image, and I'm going to cut another piece for the background. Let's see if this cooperated. Oh, I guess I need to run them again. Sorry, guys. Do have to do it again because I want to make sure I have my image fully ready to color. And I'm only going to grab my larger one there for the background. Okay. So, okay, so Beverly, tell me, since we have Team Misty and Team Tim Holtz, do you have anything to compare it to, or do you like really like it? Do you think it was worth the investment? Because I know that there are so many of us who have every brand out there, so I mean, it's not like you have to be loyal to one particular brand always. But to me, I just think it's, you know, whatever you enjoy is what you should do. Oh, the Misty Gossip? Okay, so once upon a time, there was a company that had a patent on a stamp platform. That stamp platform looked a lot like the one that I just used. If you want to see it, actually, Beverly has one. She can show you. And Mr. Tim Holtz, whom we all know and enjoy, he decided that because he lives in a capitalist nation where people are allowed to, you know, do business, that he came up with his own because it was slightly different. However, he was taken to court, sued, and lost, and no longer allowed to sell it in the United States, and now has to sell it out of the UK. But whatever. All right, I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to use It's a Boy. I don't know if you guys remember that commercial about trying to save on long distance. We had a baby, It's a Boy. So you bought the Misty twice because I lost mine when I moved. The Misty is way too much money. Exactly. Case in point. See? I wasn't imagining things. Oh gosh. I just got these little brushes, by the way. And I picked those up on Amazon, and I think they're so stinking cute. By the way, that just reminds me. Oh, I wish I... Okay, I just saw my husband walk through the behind my window, and it just completely freaked me out, guys. Sorry for that moment of silence. I just thought that I have somewhere, I have a cloud. Let me see. Let's improvise a little bit. So I know that I have a cloud die, guys, but I don't know where it is. So I'm just going to grab something that might look like a cloud. Let's see. Nope. Hold on a second. I'm thinking on the fly here. Let me see. Come on. Here we go. Okay, so a curve is a curve. All right, so this die is not a cloud, but it looks like a cloud, and it plays one on TV, so I'm going to use this. Maybe this way. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, because this is how I craft. If I don't have something, I make it up. Doesn't matter. All right, so I'm just going to use this as a stencil edge. I'm going to go in from the edge. I already had that ink right on my brush. And I'm just going to push it in from the edge, making that edge darker than the rest of it. And I'm going to stop right where the edge of that die is. And I gave myself a pseudo cloud there. And I'm going to repeat that. And yes, there's some ink on the inside of that border, but that doesn't matter. It's still going to look to the eye as if it were a cloud. So now I'm going to move it over here a little bit. Trying to follow that same curve and go in from the other side. And you can reload, of course. Yes, Tim Holtz, I mean, I've shared this before. I remember when he used to come to the conventions, and he was just this young, vibrant guy that was looking to share his love and passion for all things grunge, and he was wearing all those rings and bracelets and whatnot. And I remember thinking, oh, he's so sweet. Like, you know, he really loves and has a passion for these tags. I just remember him making tags. But back then I was never into grunge, so I couldn't relate. And then let me tell you, when he came out with his inks, oh, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy was ahead of his time. Super cool. So I'm really grateful for his persistence in doing what he loves. All right, so I've got myself my little cloud background there. Yes, it's a pseudo cloud. Pay attention. Oh gosh. Yeah, the products, they sell themselves. They really do. By the way, if you wanted to do an impression on here that to make it look more like a cloud, you could totally use that die just to emboss and not cut. So that's another option if you want to go that route. I'm just going to set it aside because I don't think I need it anymore. And now I'm going to get my markers. I was giving also, actually no, I'm going to do a little green on the bottom here. So let me grab that. And I'm not going to make any pseudo grass. Not going to be that big of a pain in the butt. I'm just going to grab, this is called Lime Ricky. So I'm just going to grab that. And yes, I could be using my oxides, absolutely. I just happen to have these, and some of these inks I haven't even used, so I want to give them a try. And please let me know if you guys can see this okay. Yes, you can definitely do that, Beverly. I've done it in the past. Just use the rubber mat. I'm going to bring my light back, guys, because it was getting dark. Oh, I think that should be better. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the Lime Ricky, which is uber bright. That's going to wake a child up in the morning. We're like, wake up! It's your birthday! Whether you like it or not. Oh my gosh. All right. And it doesn't have to end at the bottom there, by the way, because there is a horizon and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to go near, kind of toying with the proximity of that little bunny without actually going over him. There, voila, done with that. Now let's go in with some alcohol markers, because he's, let's see here. What color? I'm looking at the palette that I have. I think I'm going to go with a really light lavender. And let's see here. I have a pale blue gray, which looks like a lavender to me. And I have pale blue, and I have, this is blueberry. So let's see what combo that makes. I'm going to start off with the lightest color, and this is also very much whatever you like is what you do here. I'm just gonna gently go around the edge of this little bunny here, putting a little bit of color, because this is not Copic paper, but it's a thick enough paper that I shouldn't have to worry about it. And again, this is just to encourage you guys to make cards, but there's nothing to say that you would have to do it like this, because as I showed you before, the ones that I've made so far, I made with a Cricut. But if you don't own a Cricut, then by all means use your stamps or whatever, even hand-drawn images, whatever you have. I'm gonna go under there. Okay. Then I'm gonna add this is B32. I started off with B60. Now I'm gonna go up to B32. And I'm only going where the stamp already has the lines, because that's where the shadows would be on this particular image. Sometimes less is more. And I'm going a little bit kind of closer to that edge. And over here on his chest, underneath his chin, and this one little arm, and the top of this foot. Okay. I hope you guys... Copics are... don't say that too loud, Beverly, because then I might not get any more. These were a gift. And yeah, I waited many, many years to get these, trust me. I used to only use my Prismacolor pencils, and I thought that was the greatest investment I had made in my craft room. So yeah, you use what you have, and by all means you can use pencils on top of the Copics. If you only own 2, then use the 2 that you have. If you own 3, use the 3 you have, and then make up the rest with colored pencils, and that'll work. All right, so I'm going back with a B60, and all I'm going to do is drag the color B60 over the blues that I added that were darker. And I'm essentially pulling those colors by saturating the paper a little bit more. So all I'm doing is making the tip of that marker stay on the paper a tiny bit longer. That's all. Instead of, like, you know, doing a really quick flick of the tip of that marker, just let it sit there a tiny bit longer. And as you can tell, most of this bunny has still remained white. If you want to give him texture, you can just go absolutely crazy with swirls and patterns, because you could do all of this in little circles. You can do it in dots, however you like, and get a completely different result. So I think that's going to be it for him, except for the little ear. I want to give him a little bit of pink there on the ear, and then a little bit of pink on the nose. And I'm keeping it simple because I'm going to want to repeat this. So let's see here. I have, before I finish, I have an Aqua Flow pen that I might want to try to use there. But I'm going to color that balloon. And I'm going to give him a yellow balloon. Kind of almost looks like the sun, but I'm going in with Y35 here. And again, only on parts of that balloon. It doesn't have to be the entire thing. You can just follow the curve of that, and then pick a side and add a little more color to that side. Spectrum Noir, yeah, those are great too. You just want to make sure that they're new. Don't get them from Tuesday morning. I made that mistake. It's like, wow, I think 5 years ago those markers were great. Not when I got them. All right, so I just filled in the rest with this Y21, which is just a lighter yellow, and then I'm going to go back in and add a tiny bit more. Just tiny little lines is what I'm drawing here of that darker yellow, but only on that one side. That's it. Done with that. Marcos. Trying to get my husband to give me some water. Oh, all right, so I have a Nouveau Pen. This happens to be an Aqua Flow pen, meaning water flow. And as you can tell, it's brand new. It has this little yellow ring, so when you get one, let me move this. When you get one, you want to take off the cap, take off the ring, put the cap back on. Okay. And I'm first going to try this out on the white paper that I have over here, because I want to see if I can do just a tiny little splatter effect with this. You want to squeeze it where it says press. You just start adding a little bit of pressure there. And this has Copic marker all over it, guys. Or the ink, I should say, not Copic. What am I saying? Got ink all over it, so I'm just going to wipe that off real quick. Okay, I'm squeezing, and it should work. But I'm also trying to be gentle, because if you're not, you can get a gush. Okay, so it starts filling that little chamber, and eventually it gets to the bristles. So I'm just gonna gentle, gentle, gentle. Give it one more press here. There we go. Okay, so I wanted to get a splatter effect here. A tiny bit already got on this paper, but instead of making flowers, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so those are gonna be my little flowers. I got one up in the sky, but that's okay. It's a windy day. Those are my little flowers. Just a little splatter there. And I'm going to do a little bit more here on my mat. Okay. Now this is going to dry a lot lighter. This, I know this probably looks like blood on my mat. I hate to say that, but this is a very light pink. So that is how it will dry. It's going to be a light pink. It's not going to be a dark red as it looks on video. Because at least on my phone over here, it looks like bright red. Hello, Sandra. So this is more ink, of course. But like I said, it's going to dry a lot lighter than that. And for now, I think I'm done with this. Going to set that aside to dry, and I want to cut out the base of my card. And this isn't quite dry yet, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. And this is going to be, I'm going to use this behind the image of the bunny. So I'm going to try to get these little splatters kind of closer to the edge. Okay. Come on, baby. Why aren't you working? Get in there. All right, for some reason this didn't want to go in there. There's always something. Here we go. I'm trying it again. There we are. All right. So, because I think I have more people here now, let me see if I can, not sure how many people I do have here, but what I would like to do is that I want to challenge you guys also to enter into this, you know, really wonderful activity, the Cards for Cubs. And if you do, I would like for you to come back to this video or any other video where I share regarding Cards for Cubs. Let me know that you have participated and sent in your cards, and I think it could be corroborated because I can, I think Christian is going to be getting a list of participants, if I'm not mistaken. And what I will do is that I will put your name in a hat for a giveaway, and whoever wins will receive a copy of the papers that I just designed and released on Etsy. And they are the Valentine papers. I know that that's not, you know, necessarily a huge prize, but it is something that I worked really hard on. So I would hope that it would be an incentive for you to join, or if you're just already doing so and want to come back and let me know, that would be sufficient to just go ahead and put your name in that drawing, okay? And I'm doing this because, I mean, this is really thick paper, and the die cutter for some reason did not want to take all that paper off there on the edges. All right, here we go. Here's the link. I'm going to share it again. I had shared it at the beginning, but I believe that I can still, yep. So there's the link, and you can use that. It's going to be super, super easy to follow. There aren't very many requirements. It's not really difficult at all. Okay, so another thing that I want to do is that I got this paper, and I know I said I was sharing a haul. So along with those markers that I shared, and let me zoom out a second. I got these papers from Hobby Lobby, and I thought they were so beautiful that they have been, if you like the cards that you saw so far, these are the only papers that I used so far. So it's a really cute collection. And just to let you know, it has, and this is what sold me on it, it has my favorite color ever, holographic papers. It has pinks in 2 different shades. And this, by the way, is called the Unicorn Collection from Hobby Lobby. So those are the pinks. It has the lavenders, light and dark. So that way there's no thinking necessary in terms of what matches with what. You can just use whatever paper is in the stack and you'll be all set. So it's got the darker and lighter blue. And it has this sky blue. It has this really beautiful teal green that I used in the other cards. I do believe, Susie, to answer your question, Susie asked what's the minimum, 30. I do believe that might be the minimum. And I think that that's kind of a, you know, reasonable amount, to be honest. Because if it's only for one, you know, let's just suppose one foster home is getting all the cards from one crafter, then it stands to reason that they would need that amount. But there are the yellows. There you are. So from the stack, I'm going to go ahead and pick a color to go along with this to make my sentiment background, because I think I'm going to stamp it using that same stamp set. I forgot the sentiment, but I have the bunny. Here it is. I was trying to think of the of how it'll look with that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick, I don't think I've used this color yet, and that's going to help this stand out quite a bit. So why not go ahead and use that. Now this does have a white core, so if you score it, it's going to show, it'll crack. So this isn't what I'll use for the actual base of the card, but I will use it as, you know, an element on my card. And I'm going to measure this out because I want to make sure, as I said before, that the largest piece is 5 by 7. So what I'll do is I'll just cut this piece at 5 by 7 to go right on top of my card base. Okay, I think that makes sense. For that, I have to use my behemoth machine here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. So I cut it down to, I do 5 by 7, then I take away an 1/8. So it's truly 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And because I have it here, I'm going to just go ahead and do the base. And this is the heavier cardstock. 10. So this is the 7 by 10. And this is just going to be folded in half. So I'll just score this now. get my base going. I don't normally do bases like this. It feels so unusual to make a rectangular card. That's how infrequently I make a rectangular card. It's so funny. Yes, as far as solid colors goes, I think that that is such a pretty collection. And I didn't even notice that it was called Unicorn until I got it home. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense because it's got those really kind of bright colors. And I thought it would be so pretty for a birthday party. And funny enough, you know, I was making birthday cards and the encouragement cards, so I thought it was perfect. All right, so as you can see here, this panel can now go on top, and this one here, like so. What I want to be careful of is how I place that much pink, you know, because I really truly just want the splatter. So I'm going to place it like this. All right. Okay, like that, because again, those are meant to be like little flowers, guys. All right. Now what I'll do is I'm going to dry emboss that background to give it more texture. And I have some larger embossing folders here. I was thinking this one would be a lot of fun, again, because it'll kind of, it's not a splatter, but it's got these little dots. This is super old, so I'm just trying to use what I have here. And for this, I can go ahead and run this through my machine. Now, this, of course, is taking longer because I'm going one by one by one. But, you know, if you're doing this in mass production as I did the other ones, you want to do all of your cutting first, all of your coloring at once, you know, and that'll make it a whole lot easier. I also have these stamps that I love to use. Okay, got my embossing done. Big reveal. Da, 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 da. And again, this has that white core, so let me show you what I mean. Not all papers are created the same. So this paper, the minute that it cracks, it shows white. You may or may not like that, but that's what they mean. And now Tim Holtz has designed papers that have a craft core. Basil, I believe. I don't know if they're still at Joann's or not. But they have papers with a black core. So depending on what you like, you know, you do your thing. I do have, okay, so this is what I call my sandpaper. It's one of these nail files that you get when you go to a nail party or something like that. Somebody gave me that. It's super gritty. I think this is meant for like acrylic nails or something. And here we go. I think I had a cat hair on that. So I'm gonna just rub this lightly on here just to get a little bit of that showing. Okay, just like that. And I'm just gonna place this on here, get my glue. You can see the mess that starts happening on the table, right? One thing, two things, three things, four. Okay. I'm going to place this on there. And this will give me about 2-3 seconds to go ahead and place that accurately. I don't think I'm going to line the inside of this because it doesn't really need it. You could, if you wanted to take that extra step. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. And I had decided on this one that says, wishing your day. Give me 1 second here. Ugh. These are super sticky. So when you first get them, if you end up getting these kinds of stamps, don't be surprised at how sticky they are, because it's like they must have made them nice and hot. All right, I'm going to grab, this is what I typically do if I've never stamped an image, is I grab an eraser and I just lightly rub it, just very gently, to get the coating that's on that stamp right off. And that way my stamp will have some grit to it. And this will let the ink soak in much nicer. I'm going to go ahead and use the blue that I had used for my clouds. And this is called Kiss, a light kiss of the ink. You don't want to go too crazy with these particular ones because they are so juicy that it'll end up all over the place. And these are Catherine Pooler inks, by the way. And I'm going to try to center this here as best as I can. Make sure it's not upside down. And I'm using just the grid on the background here. You rub it on your arm. Yep. Whatever causes that, you know, gets it warm enough to get that coating off will work. All right. So this says, wishing your day is filled with lots and lots of smiles. And it's soft. It's very small. But I could probably just, you know, go in and maybe add a little balloon or something like that later on. Back to the front. I'm going to pick my placement here, and before I change my mind, I'm going to add my glue. And this is, again, it's just super simple. There's no tricks or, you know, anything fancy about it. Just getting some warmth on that to get that glue to bind. And I'm going to grab the happy birthday sentiment off of here. Put that on my block. And I try to pry these off with my fingernails without getting that ink on myself. Here we go. So I'm just lining it up with the line on my block here. But if you wanted to be super duper careful, of course, then you use the platform. I want to go with a darker color for the sentiment because it's on the background of the page. So I'm actually going to use this color called Daydream. And I'm going to pick a spot here to put the sentiment. I think here. Hold your breath. Voila! And that's one more reason to place the paper so that it's not completely straight. So that way, if your stamping is not straight, it looks like you did it intentionally. So now I'm just going to add my adhesive back here. And because this has texture, I'll be a tiny bit more generous than I normally would be so that it does grip. Oh, Versamark? Yep. That's a great idea. Susie, thank you for sharing that tip. And she's absolutely right. To use Versamark, which I like to get it like this and then get the re-inker. But Susie's right to use the stamp first. If you're using the platform, of course. Use it first with the Versamark and then use the ink. And it also kind of extends the life of that stamp as far as how wet it stays, so that if you like to do the heat embossing, it'll be much friendlier, you know? So that's a lot of fun too. I'm going to go now in, actually I'll do that last. I'm going to go in with a micron pen, and what I'm going to do is Let me zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see. I think I need to move up. All right, and like I always say, I have a little bit of a delay here, so I want to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, maybe here? Okay, I think that's better. I'm going to take my micron pen, which has a fine tip, and I'm just going to draw a little circle around those little splatters that I had. I'm just going to go around, just a little swirl motion. It makes it look a whole lot more intentional. And you make the shape that you like. I'm just being super simplistic here. And then I'm going to give these guys a little stem here and there. And that's what I meant earlier about perspective. That's why the ink could go up on the sides, because now it's just going to look like a little field of flowers where the little bunny is playing with his balloon there. And of course I could have done the splatter in the same color as the bunny or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And now the rest of it is just going to, you know, play into it. Okay. And I could make like a little field of flowers back here if I wanted to, but I'll just keep it simple like that. So here's what I meant, okay? By just using that splatter as part of the design of the card, even though it's nice and simple there. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay. And at the very end now, what I'll do is add the shine. And for that, of course, you can use whatever color you like. I like to follow it up with the same colors that match what I've already done. Whether it be in, you know, a pattern or filling in the whole space. However you do it is fine. And if you don't have this sort of thing, then just a simple glimmer pen will do, like the Jelly Roll pen. This is actually my favorite pen in all of my room because it doesn't take much. You just follow what's already there, and it adds a bit of shine. I like to do the little whiskers to make them a happy bunny. Okay. And yes, you could do the little flowers. What I'll do is add, let's see here, I'm going to add the stickles, or not, sorry, the Nouveau drops. These don't have a whole lot of color. This is called Sorbet. Let me get a little needle in there. Here we go. So it'll give it the dimension that I like. And then I'm just going to set it off to the side to dry. But now all of these little flowers will have some dimension and shine. And it all started out with splatter. Super simple. Okay. And I think that that is sufficient for a card. What do you guys think? I like it. They don't always start out looking the way that they end up, but it's just fun playing with colors and papers and whatever you have in your stash. Thank you. And I think, for instance, that something like this can be suitable for a boy or a girl. And that's another reason why, okay, I use pink, but it's in splatter. It's not in your face. And then I use this teal green back here, which, you know, that doesn't have this, it doesn't scream boy or girl. So it doesn't really matter who receives it or what age or anything like that. And then, as you saw, just super simple on the inside with the birthday wishes. So, oh, thank you. It's fun. I mean, it's so stress-free. And by the way, all of the colors play nicely together because they're all neutrals. So, I mean, there's cool tones and then there's the vibrant tones. However, if you look at the color, here's a really good way to pick, by the way, the inks that you work with. If you have no idea where to start, okay, if you have a color palette on your paper pads, then try to match the inks that you're using, whether it be with a pen, a stamp, whatever it is you have. Try to match it with 2 to 3 pieces of the papers that you have and incorporate it into what you're working on, and it'll work just fine. This pink is the same as this one, if you see that. Hello, Alicia. Hi, Lala. So, and yes, cards for Cubs, absolutely. The yellow, you know, of course, I could have gone with a lighter yellow, but if you see that, that's in there. This vibrant green, it's in the same color family as what's in there. And I hope you guys can see me okay. But if you catch my drift there, all of the items that, you know, that you select to put on your card, if you place kind of like a little rainbow on there, then you're going to be able to match up your papers and inks and all that really well. Okay. So I have to ask you how many of you are interested in joining in, because I already know that Christian is doing it. And by the way, if you like the card, if you like the video, a thumbs up would be absolutely appreciated. If you haven't already subscribed, I invite you to do so, so that you can take part in these live videos. Let me know what you're working on. I do hidden giveaways on this channel as well. And as I mentioned before, for those of you who just got here, if you join the Cards for Cubs, just to encourage you to go ahead and create, then I will also be giving away a copy of my paper release. And I'm trying to see here. Oh, if you guys didn't see, I made the little phone box with it. So my papers were used on that. Shabby chic, pink, hearts, you know, all that cute stuff for Valentine's and beyond. It also has some papers that could be more masculine in feel. And I shared another card. They're in envelopes at this time, but I did make the 3D coffee cup, which I finally figured out that my file had not cut correctly. But this is another one of the papers. So yes, you can use it in your digital makes. So I'll be giving away one of those. Not the cup, but the paper, you know. Wonderful. Thank you, Stace. That's awesome. Susie also. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Alicia. So Alicia's saying she's doing a drawing for anyone who submits at least 10 cards. So you would be able to tell me there. I was under the impression that maybe the minimum was 30, but if it's only 10, then guys, I mean, you could do that in one day for sure. And put it in one of the padded envelopes that you get from like the Dollar Tree, and you're set, because they would even fit there. If you make them in a 4x5 little cards, because they don't have to be 5x7. You make them whatever size you want. Oh, thank you, Beverly. Thank you for the shout out. I do appreciate it. Okay, wonderful. Awesome. All right. So here's what I can do. Let me see. Today is the 10th. I have somewhere to be tomorrow night, but what I can try to do is do another, you guys can email me at paintsandglitter@gmail.com if you're interested in doing a group crafty session where we make the cards, and we could do it via Zoom or YouTube, whatever you're comfortable with. And you just bring your toys, we can play, spend a couple of hours making some cards, because I would be open to that. Awesome, Sam, that's wonderful. Yes, and I highly recommend just getting the papers and cutting them all out at once. You know, as you saw me, I got to do the stamping on this, but truth be told, I could stamp this 4 times just as easily. And Beverly also, awesome. Wonderful. Okay. I will do that for sure. Yeah, because it's a lot of fun. So for those of you who just got here, in the last, when did Christian put out her, I think it was a week ago that she put out the challenge for anyone else who wanted to join her team. Because by the way, what you do is when you go to sign up, you can sign up under the person who invited you, and you're gonna see their name with the their hashtag or whatever, you know, the link. So because they're going to ask you who invited you. So if we all want to sign up under Christian, because that's who I signed up under, you can do that, and we'll all be under the same team. And I think it would be a wonderful way to support one another also, to say, hey, yeah, we all know each other as a crafty ladies that see each other on YouTube or outside of YouTube, wherever, and we can all, you know, be considered one group of crafters that joined. I think that would be really awesome. Very supportive, you know, of Christian also. Okay, so in that amount of time, and mind you, just using what I have, I managed to make 22 cards. Okay? And again, as I said before, all I did was repeat. Thank you, Beverly. Repeat what I had already done. So I make one, maybe that's my model. And then according to this, I'm going to repeat with the same 12 by 12 piece of paper, whatever I already cut out. I'm just going to do it over again, make my next card, the same with how you do the Nouveau drops or anything else. Just repeat it 4 times and you got your card. And this is what I showed in the beginning, so I'm just going to I'm not going to describe them again, but I'll quickly show them what I've done so far, just to give you guys inspiration. If you want to re-watch the video to see what it is that I added on there. Again, dollar store stickers, super easy. And the theme is either happy birthday or, birthday related, or encouragement. Okay, so whatever gets you guys going. Oopsie, I want to make sure I don't get stickles or Nouveau drops on my envelopes. So you guys know I love the bees, so I made a bunch of bee cards. I made masculine cards, as I explained before, because I have boys. It's easier for me to think of boys when making cards. So there's another set. This one was a Z-fold one. Used my itty-bitty stamps that we never use, really, because we get them in sets, and then they go unnoticed. Just repeat them a bunch of times, and you can make your own pattern paper. So that's one set. There's the set that I did the dry embossing on, and then added ink. The same way that I did the ink on the border here, with the difference that this had texture on it, so it helps that texture pop. Okay, and only a tiny bit of Nouveau drop there. Super simple. All right, so that was that set. What else was it? Oh, then the super duper elaborate one, only because I was using all the dies in that one set and making a shaker because I'm crazy. You might not want to go this elaborate if you want to get them all done in time. But I don't know what I was thinking. What else? Yeah, I think those are all the same. Right? Yeah, that's it. Okay, So I've shared what I've done. I hope this encouraged you guys to join in. It is a lot of fun. Just thinking of who might get the card, guys, you know? I think that should be inspiration enough, you know? Just to think that you made a child maybe feel a little bit better about their circumstance. I think that's a wonderful thing. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, again, encourage you guys to subscribe, leave a thumbs up. If you want any of the products that I mentioned, they'll be linked in the description box of the video under my link tree, with the exception of the little bunny. I don't do demos for these guys. I'm not affiliated with them, so I don't have a link for that, but everything else you should be able to get. And yeah, and Christian has, by the way, if you don't already know, she's got the coupon code for the glue. So if you do need glue from Barely Arts, go ahead and use her code. If you prefer the Nouveau, then I have a link for that. Why not? So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. And I need a drink of water, so I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you guys having been here. Now, before you forget, leave me the comment. Once you send in your cards, leave me your comment if you want to be entered to win the paper collection, so that you can have, at least for next year or Mother's Day or spring, digital papers that you can use that they're really timeless. I mean, I know some of them have hearts and all the cutesy stuff, but they're not all like that. So you can use them year round, okay? You're very welcome. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed, and I thank you so much for being here. You guys have a lovely night. I'm going to lift this up now to say goodbye. I don't know how. Like that. Bye. Oh, wait. I need to come down here. My camera's facing the wrong way. Good night, guys. I would stay, but my back won't permit me, so I do apologize for that. But I wanted to say goodbye. All right. Now I have to reach it. Whee! Sorry if I make anyone dizzy. Ciao, ciao.